Pray with me. Oh God, I would pray this morning that you would guard my lips. That your Son Jesus might be seen. Amen. Hey, it stands by a river. And it's tall and it's majestic. In the early morning and the late evening light, its white and tan bark seems to glow. And it has withstood the massive floods of 1985 and again in 1996. It is neither bent nor bowed. It's a giant sycamore tree that's common along many of West Virginia's waterways. Here's what the psalmist says. They are like trees planted by streams of water, which yield their fruit in its season, and their leaves do not wither. In all they do, they prosper. They. Who's they? What is this species? Are they sycamore trees? What are these beautiful trees with leaves that do not wither? The name of this tree is the believer tree. And it's somewhat rare, but it's beautiful when you run across it, when you see it. The believer tree, that person who's happy, tickled pink to be perched on the riverbank, being what he or she is supposed to be. The psalmist says, happy are those. You know, it's well understood that God didn't put us on this earth, and Jesus didn't die on the cross so that we could be happy. I hope you understand that. Our purpose and our goals for a meaningful life surely must go beyond the desire to be happy. It's true that there are times in a believer's life where unhappiness rears up. You know, there are times when something is out of sync, dysfunctional, or in upheaval. There may be good reasons for this, and one hopes that these difficulties are resolved. The psalmist's point is that this healthy tree planted by streams of water is happy. And there are reasons for this happiness that we're going to explore in just a moment. But we can say without reservation that one characteristic of the believer tree is that it is a happy tree. The believer tree. That person who does not listen to or take bad advice. Perhaps one reason is that the believer is careful about whose opinions he or she values or respects. This is particularly timely because of the 24-hour news cycle on scam artists. You know, it's easy, if you're not careful, to listen to fools. The Apostle Paul was even surprised by the tendency of believers to believe just about anything. In Galatians 1 he writes, I am astonished that you are so quickly deserting the one who called you in the grace of Christ and are turning to a different gospel. Not that there is another gospel, but there are some who are confusing you and want to pervert the gospel of Christ. The believer tree. That person who doesn't hang out with the cynical and unbelievers. Why waste time hanging out with people who don't share your values? Now, yes, of course, there is a place for evangelism. I'm not saying. There is a place for evangelism. And yes, by spending time with the cynical and the unbelievers, we may learn about their concerns and their issues. But the psalmist here refers to those who prefer the company of the unrighteous to the company of the righteous. And the believer tree is not like that. The roots of the believer tree are sunk into the clear, pure water of everlasting streams, not in the acidic, caustic waters of the cynical and the unbelieving. The believer tree, that person who delights in the Word of God. Now let's face it. Many believers are lacking in this quality. The Bible isn't the first book that we're likely to pick up. It's not always like reading the Bible. Yet it is the key to our moral and spiritual formation. And with discipline, daily Bible reading can be achieved. I watch my wife every morning. The first thing she does after she brushes her teeth. She's reading through the Bible again this year. We as a congregation have done it twice. Some of you have done it. You know what kind of discipline it takes to do it. But every morning, brushes her teeth, makes her a cup of coffee, grabs her Bible and her reading plan. Just reading 5 Psalms a day gets you through the Psalms in a month. And maybe 119 may take a little longer than a day. You know, I don't know, I want to put another 4 in with that one. But read a couple in the morning. Read 2 or 3 in the evening before you go to bed. Do that for a year and the Word of God is planted in your soul. The believer tree, the person who not only delights in the Word of God, but digs into the Word constantly. And the psalmist says in verse 2, and on His law they meditate day and night. A strong believer is one who gets into the Word seriously. It's a conscious aspect of their daily lives. The believer tree, that person who is fruitful. These people will yield fruit in their season, and their leaves do not wither in all that they do. It's an apple tree that delivers apples in season, and a cherry tree that produces cherries in season, and a fig tree that delivers figs in season. The believer tree. That person who has great foliage. This is a leafy tree. So Blair and I don't qualify. The godly believer leading a righteous life is a person who looks good, acts good, and is good. This is a person you'd want to hire. This is a person that you trust your children with. This is a person you can trust to manage the office. I'm not looking at Tanya. But this is a person you can trust to manage the office. This is a person that you can trust implicitly. So you could say the believer tree looks good. But it also makes others look good as well. Trees with lots of foliage keep the atmosphere rich with oxygen, don't they? And that benefits everyone. You see, the believers like that too. They want to help others breathe better and live tree makes God look better. Isaiah 61:3 says, they will be called oaks of righteousness, the planting of the Lord to display his glory. The believer tree glorifies God. With all that beautiful foliage, even in the seasons of drought, it glorifies its Creator. I read someplace that a sapling's life is extremely difficult, since 95% of the trees that make it to their first birthday will not make it to their second. 95% of saplings that make it to their first birthday will not make it to their second. So if there's 100 saplings in a line, only 5 of them will survive to be 2 years old. And yet there stands that magnificent old sycamore tree along the Black Fork River. And this past 2 weeks ago, I'd sit on the porch every day, and I'd see it standing down there on the river, with its roots sunk deeply in the rocky soil. And I would imagine, how did that tree survive the 1985 flood? Well, the water was probably 15 or 20 feet up the trunk of that tree. How did it survive? Its roots were sunk deep. Where are your roots sunk? How is your foliage